Hey, it's Biddy Penny, and I'm here with you. I want to share what I did with the backgrounds that I made in a previous video. I said I would follow up and show you how to use them. And yeah, so this one's a little warped. This is the one where we used the water, so it warped the page a little. None of the others are. This is also just a standard, it's called Spring Hill Digital, 110 pound index paper. I get it from Kinko's. Super affordable if you make a ton of cards like me. So I just roll it as I did before. And this one is so easy. It's literally 2 pieces of ephemera and some, razzle dazzle. So I'm just going to pop that all up with phone tape. I'm going to grab my razzle dazzle bling and start gluing it down. I mean, it really just doesn't get more simple than this. It's definitely a beginner level. All of these really are. Making the backgrounds, the assembly, everything. So I'm going to glue this down. So I used some Nuvo gems, and then I used some that are from a card kit, and I don't know which one, but I know they're Spellbinders. And I just wanted some variety, so that's why I did the 2 different kinds. I love how these cards turned out, by the way. They are like, they just radiate and tickle my heartstrings. They're just lovely. So I'm doing all of these on a double-sided paper because I really enjoy that, and how much complexity and interest it adds to a card rather than a white card base or a solid color. Now you have to be careful sometimes. Like, this is a good paper, but it still kind of cracks there. One thing that you can do, like, I'm gonna leave it, I'm not gonna worry about it, but if that stresses you, you can take a similar color ink pad or maybe vintage photo or something and rub it across that, and at least you won't see the white paper. So I'm even doing, all the parts that people will write on. I'm doing those in colors. And I didn't really add any ephemera or anything to the inside, and I may go back eventually and do that, maybe before I send it or something, or I might just leave them like this. I think they're lovely no matter what. There's so much visual interest inside and out that they work. So the next one, that paper, so pretty. So I am so ready to see people again. I'm ready to gather together, that's for sure. So a couple of my cards have that theme, and this one says, "Let's get excited," and I will be so excited when we can gather together safely again. I'm sure some of you feel the same way. So this one is pretty simple. I'm popping up the little pennant to put in that top corner. I'm gonna glue down this little lady right here, and then everything else gets popped up. So yeah, it's pretty easy, I'm telling you. I don't know if I'm pleased with where I put that guy at the end. He's kind of standing on top of the sentiment. I almost wish I would have tucked him down, but I like there to be variables in height, and it was kind of throwing me off to think of them being exactly the same height. After all, their body shapes are different. So he stood on top of the sentiment. I find that, with a lot of the foam squares and things that you use, you have room to play. So if you don't like it, just don't push it all the way down. So here I'm playing with paper, and I'd liked the yellow. Now, one thing I wanted to share, like, you could use this paper this way, right? Because the butterflies would be upright, but you couldn't use it as the outside because on the back they would be upside down. So when you're using double-sided paper, you do have to think about it. You have to think about your patterns and how they're going to present once the paper is folded. Anyways, I chose this one and I'm glad I did. And I almost adhered it down. I love that side. I like the A side, the B side. But I almost adhered it down, and then I thought, you know, I want there to be some texture. Like woven textures. It just, to me, goes perfectly with like a fiesta card or something like with these llamas. You know, I just think of there being a lot of woven South American. Their textiles are just amazing. So I wanted some of that texture, which is why I brought in this string. I'm going to tie it in a really simple knot, kind of like how it would be knotted as a tassel on the end of a blanket or something. Just very simple. And that card is pretty much done. I just need to pop some paper on the inside. And I chose the green. So tell me in the comments below, do you have a custom stamp that you use on your cards? I make so many. I've always had a stamp. I've felt like that was so unique, and it just gives it that extra professional touch, and they know who made their card. All right, so this one I had lots of ideas of things I wanted to incorporate, but that paper we made in the previous video is so bold and beautiful that I really didn't want to cover it up, and it wasn't going to work to have a ton of elements as much as I tried. You'll see a little bit of me fiddling around with it, but I think I edited some out. I try to keep most of it in so you can kind of see my process, and that, you know, I have to work with things. I don't just automatically get it right. And you know, as soon as I put something down on paper, it's not in the perfect place. I play with it. And so I try to leave that in so y'all can see more of the process. I believe that that's valuable. So I just love this one too. That paper is just so vivid. I just love the colors and everything. I might go back and add some razzle dazzle to this one, but I'm thinking it's just fine the way it is. I end up editing, you know, taking all that stuff out. These are chipboard stickers. I always glue, regardless of who makes them. I glue down my chipboard stickers. I don't trust the adhesive that is on the back of them to hold. So, a little hot tip there. I'm sure you've seen it before. Again, I keep trying to add all these elements, but they just really weren't working. So in the end, it is very simple. It's that one piece of ephemera at the top and 2 chipboard stickers for the sentiment. And this lovely paper. I love this paper. I felt like it was so perfect for this card. And it's interesting how well it goes with the colors we had chosen. I didn't originally plan on using this paper pack, and I had it out and it just worked perfectly. I was so excited about that. As I had mentioned in my previous video when we were making the background, I had looked at this ephemera pack, and before I chose any of my colors to make the backgrounds, I wanted them to coordinate. So this is, in this video I have ephemera, chipboard stickers, and die cuts from a Spellbinders card kit. And I love them. Now, for me, this was really fun to mix it up and maybe not use their pattern paper and show you different ideas. Maybe you only get the ephemera packs. Maybe you don't get the whole kit, or you have leftovers that, you know, you're not sure what to do with. Hopefully this video will give you some ideas about how to use them up. I really enjoy the Spellbinders kits. I love all the ephemera, and they make for such super beautiful and fast cards. So, you know, I spent about 10 minutes making the backgrounds originally, and then I spent about 45 minutes piecing these together. So let's just call it an hour. But we got 5 cards, I think really beautiful cards out of it. So that's pretty quick to me, especially when we were making our own like patterned paper. That seems like a pretty quick turnaround. And I credit a lot of that to having this amazing ephemera. Oh, there's my Dollar Tree foam squares. I love these things. They are $1 and they are great. One thing I'm going to show you here is they're about the same thickness as these like Doris strips that I use. But their density, they're very dense, and the adhesive on them is so strong. Now, I wouldn't recommend going to the Dollar Tree and buying like 8 packs of them and hoarding them. I think they're better when they're fresh, if you will. So I don't buy more than like 2 at a time, but this is one of those things that I'm so glad I discovered and tried, and I'm pleasantly surprised by how great they are. Also, the big roll of foam tape that I use is actually from Amazon, and I think I get it for about like $15 for a huge roll. And the paper releases well, and it holds well. I use inexpensive foam tape. Here I'm incorporating more of that black and white string, and I just love it. I love the contrast that it gives with these really bright colors. I love the texture. And then I'm going to add a little bit of gold thread as well and string it between. So I think this gave the card exactly what it needed to make it extra special. And I just have to pop that gold string inside the black thread. I wanted them to be sandwiched between there. Now, when you're using thread like this, and this is like a hardy, good thread, I find that it's important to use like, you know, either I'm going to pull in these foam sheets. If you want to save and not use a ton of foam tape, I like these foam sheets, and you just cut them up and adhere them down. But I think this is important because otherwise your card is going to be, it's not going to lay flat, right? It's going to be raised on the back there where that thread is at. But if you put down some foam, it'll be evenly spaced out, and it will lay flat, and it'll give it a little extra dimension. We all like dimension. I don't think the post office does. So I'm just putting all this down. And a lot of times I'm a little bit particular about my foam sheets. I want them to match. So when you see it from the side or the top, it's not like, I don't know. For whatever reason, I don't like white unless everything else on the card is white, which for me is a rare occurrence. So eventually, oh yeah, embossing buddy. Bring that in to, you know, kind of deactivate the double-sided tape that I had used to adhere the thread down. I didn't want that sticking to the card if it got pressed in. So here is a little pink sheet, and this is a thin paper, so I wanted to use my tape runner. If it's a thick paper, then I'll use glue. It all just depends on what I'm working with. And that's that one. This one's fun. So this is all ephemera that I made using the dies from the kit. When I saw these dies, I couldn't get them in my hot little hands fast enough. Like, I love flowers and I love these. I just thought they were so great. So I definitely had to use them. And I wanted them in bright Fiesta colors, and this is what I came up with. So I had popped some things up with foam tape, others I just glued down. And then I'm using some more beautiful paper, and I actually did this one to open up. You know, it's like a horizontal card and it opens up sideways. So, you know, you make like a top folding card, but you just put it in a horizontal orientation. So I pop some paper in here. And then I wanted to put a sentiment on it, so whoever gets it kind of has an idea of the orientation. So I pulled this from the same kit. This is the stamp set, and I pulled out Hooray. That could be used for any number of things. I find it to be a very versatile sentiment, and I think it matches just the brightness of the card, the cheerfulness. So I'm going to stamp it in orange. I'm just kind of angling my cut. And here I pick up the piece because I want the angles to be pretty spot on from one side to the next. And I'm just going to glue that down. And that's it, guys. That is all she wrote. Here's a little close-up of each one. I just adore how these turned out, and I can't wait to send them off and share them with others. I know they cheer me up, and I'm sure that they'll cheer up others too. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, do all those happy little YouTube things for me as I try to break through the algorithm barrier. Have a great day.